Last time on Ohio Home and Garden, ArborTurf helped us rope up and root out a potential tree problem. We finished the demo and filled in the gaps with insulation from Edwards, Mooney and Moses. Bryce and Courtney took a trip to Ferguson's new bath kitchen and lighting showroom to see what's in store. And Best Supply swung by to lift our spirits with a drywall delivery. Today, it's out with the old and in with the new as the wallpaper comes down and the drywall goes up. Our old bathrooms get a futuristic upgrade. And the windows finally come clean. All this and more today on OHG.
Oh, hey, Russ, how are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Well, look, I just came from the house. Things are looking great, and we're ready for windows. So I thought I'd stop on by here and take a look at what you have.
We've got a lot to offer up here, but we try to show you a lot of variety. I mean, when you go out to choose your windows and doors for your home, be it new construction or remodel, there's a lot of options. So we show everything from a vinyl, which is very economical, up to the Windsor, which is a medium range, and then all the way up to the Marvin product, which is the ultimate in custom.
Now, as all of you know, watching the previous episodes, we've got a lot of criteria to follow from the exterior viewpoint of our house down there. It's in Victorian Village. We know we're going to have to comply with some things. The village is going to want to approve what we have. So knowing that, what are we going to talk about here? Do we have to go to that high end, that Marvin line to get what we're looking for, or can we find it somewhere else?
I think you can find it in the Windsor line. We've got the criteria that Victorian Village has set aside for us. Prime exterior, wood interior, a lot of updates from what you had in the house originally.
What's going to be different about this window? It looks pretty nice.
Well, as you can see, a lot of updates from 1904. Okay, mortise locks, which is going to give you a better, cleaner look. As of course, insulated glass, much better. Not only do we have insulated glass, low E is the standard with the Windsor product. Increases your R value, cuts down on your UV fading too. Excellent.
This is it, huh? That's the window?
So we think it's the best value for you.
All right, well, sign me up for 30 of them, would you?
You got a deal.
All right,
Thank
fantastic.
You very much.
Hey, Gary, how you doing?
Oh, hey, Bryce.
Good to see you. Doing just fine. Hey, Bastian, how are you?
Morgen, Bryce. Herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Geburtstag und zum beinahe neuen Haus.
Okay, yeah, well, here's what happens when you deal with a German product. Your guest sometimes speaks German too, but for today, Bastian, we may just ask you to speak English so our guests can understand you.
Try to do my best, Bryce.
Now tell me, what are we doing?
Yeah, what we do is today we install a whole shower system from scratch and make it tile ready the same day. Utilizing our Weedy full shower system consisting of a pre-sloped tile-ready shower pan that can be cut to size or modified to make it fit the actual framework situation that we have in remodel or new construction jobs. And then we utilize the Weedy wall backer board, also 100% waterproof by itself.
Let me stop you for a second. Now, you're telling me that this can go in today, the walls will go in today, and by this afternoon we could be tiling?
Oh, certainly by noon. This is exactly what Weedy does for you or our installers, that we have one prefabricated system by itself 100% waterproof due to the nature, and we just use tile adhesive to apply it right down onto the wooden subfloor.
I noticed this is pretty nifty. You've got a square drain, and for those of us who've laid tile in our days, you realize tile comes in squares, so it's always been trouble cutting a circle into square tiles.
Yeah, Weedy products are definitely detail engineered, and this is our philosophy and how the whole system works. We intend to create surface for tile setting business. We want to create ideal surface that keeps tiles at a setting tile and not preparing substrate.
Well, and I noticed over here, it looks like you've got Are these for the threshold? There's a couple different things I'm looking at here. Are these for the threshold going into the shower? Is that right?
Absolutely right, Bryce.
Tell me what this one would be used for.
Well, this one is often used over a conventional or traditional 2x4 construction. Now, here we can create, by just wrapping this 2x4 construction with this curb or prefabricated curb, just making it waterproof and equipping it with nice square edges to set perfect tile.
So you don't need the pan liner in this case?
You would not, you're absolutely right, Bryce. You would just have your 2x4 construction on the subfloor and would connect the weedy curb or prefabricated curb in a bead of the weedy joint sealant right here in the channel connection of the shower pan.
I noticed down here you've got a box full of caulk.
Well, I'm gonna correct you right there.
I'm wrong, huh?
This is not caulk. We use this material to properly waterproof and bond and connect all seams. We also use this material to fully replace the need of any mesh tape or mud taping as it is done conventionally when checkerboards are set up or connected with each other. Now this material does basically three things for us. First, it offers unbelievable high bond strength. It sticks to almost everything, including stainless steel, concrete surfaces. It also, as a second benefit, successfully waterproofs your joints. And then the third benefit, as well important as the high bonding strengths or bond strengths, is it offers permanent flexibility. It's a moisture curing material that permanently stays tacky. Does not cure out. It has a 20-year warranty for flexibility and waterproofing. So it's nothing like a caulk. It's an industry-grade sealant.
So there's no continued maintenance needed on it, and
Absolutely
this is not something I could go to a hardware store and pick up off the shelf. I need to, of course, go to you guys and get it, right?
It's a specially formulated pure polyurethane sealant.
What kind of shape are we in here?
Oh, we're about an eighth out on this frame here.
Fantastic.
Hey guys.
Whoa!
How you doing?
I'm good, Bryce. How are you? Let me give you a hand.
Good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm here with Specialty North American, and today the old windows, they're going out, the new windows are going in.
Out with the old, in with the new, Bryce.
Right. So what do we have?
We've got the full window frame torn out, and as is typical, we've got double brick walls, so there's no wood in the existing structure to set a window to, so we're just kind of building the subframe here to enable us to set the new window into.
Now this is the window that's going into the house.
This is the window that's going in here right now. This is a
Pinnacle.
Windsor Pinnacle Series prime wood double hung. It's prime wood because this is Victorian Village, and that's a requirement of doing window replacement down here. Windsor's a wood window manufacturer based in North Carolina. We've been a representative of Windsor for about 13 years now, and it's been a great relationship for us.
You mentioned that you had some obstacles here. There's double brick, something. How do you get to this point then when you tear the old out?
Well, if you want, we're getting ready to tear another frame out in the other room. I'd be more than happy to show you how the whole process begins.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Let's go take a look
for
at
our
it.
viewers. See you over there. So who do you have here helping out?
Bryce, this is Kurt Billingsley from Billingsley Carpentry. Kurt's just removed the window frame, and as you can see, the amount of deterioration the existing frames experience. So now what you're looking at here, going back, we've got the double brick opening, much like the one we saw in there. The next step for Kurt will be to put the subframe into this one like you saw up in that one up there.
And will this trim go back on?
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
There's some work to be done on the walls, but eventually, yeah. Oh, Bryce, let me introduce you to the second member of our installation crew today. This is Kurt Billingsley Sr. Mr. Billingsley, meet Bryce Jacob.
Yeah, good to meet you too. So what do you think of your son being so dirty?
Well, it used to be me. I used to get that dirty myself.
Yeah?
So I'm glad it's him instead of me.
While you guys should stand there on there talking when we get some work done and get that hand that window to you.
Oh, okay. Bryce, you want to give me a hand with us?
Man, oh man, these guys mean business, don't they?
All right.
Got it there, Kurt?
Got it? Okay. Tell me a little bit about Specialty North American. I know that we haven't talked much about what you guys do, and this is just one example of the windows you carry.
We like to say if it's got glass in it, we can do it. We do, you know, a lot of commercial projects with aluminum storefront or aluminum windows. We sell to new home builders, remodelers. We do a lot of residential replacement like this, obviously. So we carry a Windsor line. We're also Marvin representatives, and we carry a few different lines of vinyl. In addition to all that, We do kitchen cabinets as well.
Now, if I'm a consumer sitting at home, how do I know to get in touch with you?
Well, probably the easiest way is to access our website. That's www.snaohio.com. And it'll give you a brief background of our company, what we do, and everything like that. We also have a showroom located up in Lewis Center on Green Meadows Drive, just north of Orange Road.
And now, an OHG special tip. With all the excitement of starting a new project, it can be easy to get carried away. Make sure you acquire the necessary permits before you start any repairs or renovations. Also, OHG has trained professionals to do all the work you see. If you do not have the proper training as well as the right tools, you should not try this at home.
Hey, Gary. How's it coming?
Oh, good, Bryce. How you doing?
Good, good. So, looks like you're making some progress here. Why don't you tell our viewers exactly what you're doing to get the Ouija board set?
Okay, well, basically, like any other backer board, you're going to thin set your floor with 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch notch trowel. And basically just place the board in it and run the fasteners. So it's pretty quick and simple system.
Well, that makes sense. It looks like you got enough room here for another board. Are you getting ready? You putting one down here? Is this it here?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind handing that to me, we'll get it placed.
I don't mind at all. It's nice and light. I love this stuff. Real easy to work with. Well, Gary, now that we just set the board in place, is there anything else you need to do to it to make sure that it stays in place, or is it ready to go?
No, actually, we're going to run a fastener every square foot on the floor.
When it's somebody other than me doing this, how long does it, measuring a room like this, cutting it, installing it, and then you said the next step is to really come back and do a waterproof seal on it. How long does a project like this take?
Oh, typically, I'd say an hour, hour and a half at the tops. I mean, we've got some pipes coming out of the floor, and there's some different issues, whether it's just a square room. You know, you're sitting there with a razor knife, cutting everything right on site. You don't have to run outside with a grinder and cut that dusty other products.
Well, Gary, it's looking really good. And I know that you got a little bit more work to do, and you're moving into the bathroom next door, and our tilers are chomping at the bit to get in here. So I'll let you finish up, and the tilers will be in here right after you.
Okay, no problem.
Okay?
All right.
Well, good. Well, last time we had Daryl Schrock from Reliable Handyman out here. He was replacing our soffits, putting new trim up, and today Daryl's over here looking at our front porch. Hey, Daryl.
How you doing, Bryce?
Welcome back.
Good to see you again.
So what do we got today?
Bryce, what we got here is a porch that has been repaired numerous times. It has tongue and groove lumber on it. Some of it is oak, 1x2 oak, some of it is 1x3 pine. But there are a couple problems here. First of all, there isn't any structural members underneath the pillars, so the weight of the porch is actually pushing in on the decking itself. Secondly, some of this here, the deterioration, as you can see, there is about a 2.5 inch overlap from the deck boards here, which makes it very brittle when you walk on the edge. So we'll be shoring all of that up, tearing everything off and replacing it with new 1x4 pine.
Why do you suppose they would use oak and pine combined?
Oak, when the house was built, was probably a very economical way to go. It's strong, readily available. Now oak is much more expensive than pine. I'm assuming pine was used because it was inexpensive.
Now today over here, it looks like you've already ripped some of this out and you're ready to get started?
That's correct. Well, Darren Snyder is over here.
Well, I'm going to hop in here and get a closer look. Boy, it looks like it's coming out pretty easily, huh?
These old nails are pretty rusty. They got, some of them have even broken off. A lot of this material's got a lot of water damage to it, so it's peeling right out of here pretty easily.
Not a big job to get this out.
No.
Now, what about a joist like this? It looks pretty well split down the middle. What do you do with something like that?
Well, Bryce, structurally this joist is fine, but because it's spalding on the top, we're going to want to sister another joist beside it to give us something solid to nail to.
Yeah.
In addition, we're going to put stringers between these joists. As you can see, there isn't anything structural underneath these pillars. We'll put some structural members down here, redeck underneath it, put the post back down, and that'll keep us nice and solid.
All right, great. So give some extra support to the roof load here.
Absolutely.
All right, well, good. Well, I better get out of the hole. Well, it looks as if Best Supply has finished their delivery of drywall, and now that it's delivered, it needs hung. And I'm here with John Ryan of Unlimited Renovations. Hey, John.
How you doing, Bryce?
Good. Well, today's a good day for us.
Great day for us. We've really been looking forward to this day, and finally it's come. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to be going over the ceiling itself with 5/8 fire retardant drywall. We're going to be putting 5/8 on the ceiling because from a fire standpoint, it contains the fire to this room for 90 minutes.
Okay.
So that's very important so that if double half-inch, one on one side of the wall, one on the other side creates the 90-minute for the walls, 5/8 one layer creates that 90-minute for the ceiling.
So John, what do you do in this situation where the Ouija board is actually on top of the existing wall and it seems there's a nice elevation change?
That's a good question, Bryce. Where the Ouija board actually creates that shower from the wall break, as we say, we're actually going to take the half-inch and butt it right up to the Ouija.
Okay.
And then we're going to leave that joint open because the guy that does the tile doesn't want any mud or any of our skim coat that joins the two surfaces there because it's a possible contaminant for wicking or mold or something like that.
Gotcha.
So he's going to put a latex filler there where we join the drywall to the Ouija. It'll create a perfect situation for transition from tile to drywall.
In the hallway, I know that there's some plaster there, and then the ceiling as well. And if we were to put drywall over that, it might create some problems around the doorways. Do you have another approach that you're using there?
That's another good question. Let's go to the hallway and
Okay.
I'll show you what we're going to be doing and we'll go from there. So Bryce, out here in the hallway, what we were talking about with, I specifically asked John, the project manager, to leave some of the existing trim on these walls for a good reason. Where this wall transitions into the stair descend, we would have basically a tough time putting a laminate or a new layer of half-inch drywall on this wall because then we've got an elevation change. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take all this wallpaper and remove it back down to the bare plaster, and then we're going to just roll and skim coat these walls complete. So as if we were doing it back when the house was built, we're going to use that same technique. Like I said, Bryce, as you can see, once they get going, it really doesn't take them long. This one's a little more intricate. We got a tray going on in here with a soffit that drops down. The tray is basically a recessed section that steps up from the original ceiling that was below. It just creates a different lighting atmosphere and a nicer ambience to the room. So this one's going to look really, really good when it's all done. This is typically the stage that most customers, homeowners, or commercial construction, they hate it. There's a lot of dust, there's a lot of debris, there's a lot of mess involved in it. And basically what we do from this point is the drywall will be finished being hung. After that, we'll go through with the finishing process. Finishing process will consist of one layer of tape. That tape gets mudded in. Then we do what we call the bed coat, which is the first solid foundation coat. That helps to level out the seams and fill in all the screw holes. Then we do another coat. Sand that down, check for any imperfections, and in some cases we even do a fourth coat, which is a lot above and beyond what a lot of other drywall contractors do. For us, it's only done one way, the right way. At the end, it finishes perfect. There's no complications.
Why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about your company, Unlimited Renovations, and maybe how long you've been in business?
It's really been a blessing for us because Dave Fox gave us our start. Just with time and with this growing relationship that we have, we've really meshed well together. We believe in the same type of quality of work that you guys promote. If anybody does need to reach us or has any questions or has kind of an idea of what they do want to do, they can reach us on the website at www.unlimitedrenovationsinc.com. Always they can reach me on my phone, 614-207-5283.
Hey Daryl, it's looking good.
Hey Bryce, I think by the end of the day we'll have all the wood on. We'll snap a line on the end, cut everything true and straight, and then in front of the steps we'll obviously put a triangle piece of wood in here to shore up the edges so it won't break off like the old ones did.
Good.
We're also using some construction adhesive to glue the wood down to the joists as well as staples, galvanized staples. And that'll help with the expansion and contraction with not only moisture, but thermal changes as well. It'll help keep everything in place.
Excellent. So they'll just do some wood fill on this to smooth out some of the rough spots and it'll be ready for paint.
That's exactly right.
Perfect. Well, wonderful. Well, we'll check back when this thing's about done and we'll look at your final product. Well, we're here at the OHG house and the drywall is well underway. I'm here with John McFarland at Classic Paper and Paint. Hey, John.
Hi, Bryce. How you doing today?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, John's here today to remove the wallpaper from the walls. If you remember when we talked to the drywallers, they're hanging drywall on most of the house, but the stairwell and the upstairs hall here, they need the wallpaper removed so they can skim coat. John, tell us a little bit about how you're going to remove the wallpaper here.
Well, Bryce, on this particular house, what we're looking at is we have a plaster substrate. You also have some drywall, but the paper itself is on the plaster. So this particular paper is a two-part paper. This is the face of it, and then this is the backing.
Okay.
So we'll go in, as Darren is doing up the top, he'll pull the face off. Once we get this off, then we'll go through and we'll wet the backing with the solution. This particular product we're using is from Zinsser called Diff. What Darren has done is he's come in, you can see the color difference. This is the wet area and this is the dry. And he has wet this down, he lets it set for maybe 5 minutes or so, and then he'll come in and start scraping it off.
Okay, great. I noticed there's a large crack up here. Does that pose any kind of problem to you guys?
Oh, absolutely. When you're dealing with plaster itself, some kind can be brittle if you have an area like this. So when you wet it and you go to start pulling it off, you got to be careful you don't let your knife hit it because it will pull the surface off. So as you can see where Darren is working at right now, this particular area, this is what we would discover in an older home. This is a second layer of paper, maybe a third layer of paper that's been painted over at one time.
So once all this is off and we move down the hall, the guys will be ready to come in and skim coat, or is there something you need to do to remove any glue that's behind, or does this do it?
Darren has been going along with a scratch pad like what you might have here.
Okay.
With a little bit of the diff on that, and he's going over and wiping all the excess glue that's on the wall to clean that off for him. So
he'll be done.
It'll be done. It'll be ready.
For the skim?
Absolutely.
Good. And then we'll see you again, because once the skim coating is done, drywalling's done, you guys will be back out here to paint it.
Ready to paint it.
Yeah, that's why we
Sounds
call you
great.
Classic Paper and Painting. You got to get the painting and the paper together.
Absolutely.
John, great to have you here.
Good to see you
look forward
again.
to seeing you at paint.
Thank you.
All right.
This episode of OHG is brought to you by See you next time.
Well, as you've watched in the previous episodes, we have a lot of things we have to comply with the village.
Victorian Village.
Thanks, buddy.
Go down to the bare plaster. We've got to start over.
Hang on.
This is something that we need a strong structure to go for.
Hang on.
Unfortunately.
Hang on. I'm ready.
Come in anytime. We're chit-chatting here. We're making small talk.
The guns. We've gotten kind of accustomed to the guns, and here's another gun show. Woo!